Hello. In this video, we're going to go through learning target 825 and 835, which are both related to the equation of a circle. And so we're going to start out with the generic equation. So we have in parentheses x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. And in this equation, this is a generic form, x and y stay the same, but then h, k, and r are numbers. So h and k is our center. But it is important to know that h and k are liars. What that means is that they are the opposite of what they look like. So in the equation, if it was like -4 and -4, the center would be +4 and +4. So they're the opposite of what they look like in the equation. And then r is just our radius. So the 2.0 and 3.0 are actually like not more difficult. Like one's not the easy one and the hard one. It's really just like a forwards version and a backwards version. And so I'm going to show you both in this video. And everyone is capable of doing both targets. So the 825, we are going to identify the center and radius given the equation. So you'll be given something that looks like this. You'll find the center and the radius from that information. So for example, we would have x minus 5 squared plus y plus 2 squared equals 49. And so our center is going to be h and k, but they're opposites. So my center is instead of -5, +5, and instead of +2, -2. So the opposites of what we have in the equation. And then the radius is this piece, but this is squared. So this is r squared. And to undo that square, we need to square root to find out what the actual radius is. So I need to do the square root of 49 to get 7 as my radius. So just two things to keep in mind. One is that you have to make your center opposites, so +5 and -2, and then make sure you square root this number at the end. You don't just leave it as 49. So there is like one weird example that might look like this: x minus 2 squared plus y squared equals 15, where like one of the values is missing. So the k over here is gone. There's not parentheses. And so if that ever happens, that value is just 0. So our center is +2, 0. If it just said x squared plus y squared, it would just be 0, 0. And then our radius, we need to square root 15, which I think ends up being a decimal. And so we're going to estimate that to be 3.9 or so as our radius. So this is the 2.0. This is like the forwards version. You're given the equation, you find the important pieces. Now, in the 3.0 version, we are going to be moving backwards. You're going to be given the pieces, and you are going to write the equation. So we're going to do a couple examples in a few different ways that it could be written. So the first is that it could say circle A with center for -2 and radius 3. And so we're going to kind of use the template that's at the top of our page, and we're going to fill in all the things we know. We know h and k, and then we know our radius. So I have all the pieces that I need to write my equation. All you need is the center and the radius. So I'm going to write my equation x, and then the opposite of h, so minus 4 squared, plus y, the opposite of k, so plus 2 squared, equals r squared. So 3 squared gives me 9. And that's my equation of this circle. You could also be given one that passes through certain points. So we have a circle B that passes through -2, 6 and has a center -6, 3. So we have our center, but we don't have our radius. And so in order to find the radius, remember the radius is just the distance between the center and the edge. And so we can use the distance formula from first semester to be able to find the distance between these 2 points. So the distance formula is x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. And so we can plug these into our formula to be able to do that. And it doesn't matter which one's x1 or x2. I usually start with the center, so I would end up with something like this. And then I can simplify from there. So if I do that, I can type this whole thing into my calculator, and I end up getting that my radius or my distance is 5. And so then you can do the same process that we just did, where now this is r, and then we have our h and our k, and you can write the equation. The very last kind that you could see is a picture. So if you have a graph of a circle on a coordinate plane, you can pick out the center by finding the exact middle and then just counting boxes to find your radius. So if it's 3 boxes from the center to the outside, the radius is 3. I hope this helps.